I'm the evil supporting female character. The comment section sent me an interaction request. Supporting character. What will it take for you to stop sabotaging the male and female leads? Relationship? After thinking for a moment, I made my turns. One small cake for one day of not sabotaging. For the viewers' tips, I decisively stayed away from the main couple, but those two still wouldn't leave me alone. The male lead and female lead were being all lovey, dovey in front of me. I ignored them. The female lead kept testing me in various ways. I pretended not to understand. Finally, when the male lead provocatively placed bubble tea on the table saying, "This is to celebrate my baby's test score was beating yours," the comments section got angry. Supporting character. Get first place next time and we'll tip you a feast. During the hungriest part of evening study hall, comments floated before my eyes. If it weren't for the supporting character, the main couple wouldn't have so many misunderstandings. Without her, the leads wouldn't have missed each other for 10 whole years. One by one, they listed my crimes as the evil supporting character, finally converging into one sentence. Supporting character. What will it take for you to stop sabotaging the main couple's relationship? The comments told me about an extremely melodramatic novel where I, as the evil supporting character, who destroyed the main couple's relationship, had committed countless wrongs. I figured I was hallucinating from hunger, and casually said, "I want cake." But the comments were puzzled. That simple. You'll stop sabotaging the lead's relationship if you eat cake. Is a supporting character really this easy to satisfy? Could she be lying? I sat up straight with a serious attitude. Simple, I want the matcha layer cake from that shop downtown. And one cake only gets you one day of non-sabotage. I thought I might be going crazy, actually believing these comments could conto up cake for me. I rubbed my face and went back to my worksheet. Before I'd finished 2 problems, a golden glowing comment floated across my face. Emma Wilson won matcha layer cake. I frowned and reached into my desk hole as the comments instructed. Sure enough, I felt the cool packaging of a cake. It really was from that downtown cake shop. My eyes lit up immediately, followed by deep regret. I should have asked for something more expensive. While the teacher wasn't looking, I quickly stuffed the small cake into my mouth. The comments were shocked by my stealth eating skills. The supporting character's secret eating looks so pitiful, kind of heartbreaking. It's one thing to say you feel bad for the supporting character online, but who wouldn't want to frantically hide from teachers while sneaking food? After finishing the cake, I came interested in learning about the male and female leads. The comments kept mentioning, "Who are these leads you keep talking about? I'll pay attention." The comments were confused and somewhat upset. Wait, what? So everything we've been saying was pointless? You agreed without even knowing who they are? Did we find the wrong person? I immediately became alert. Already ate the cake. Just kidding. How could I spit out something I'd already eaten? Afraid they'd make me return it. I quickly changed the subject. You keep saying baby this, baby that, but I don't know who that is. Give me actual names. The comments provided 2 names. Stephen Shaw, Lisa Thompson. My brain worked quickly. Lisa Thompson sat behind me and always shared snacks with me. But who was Stephen Shaw? I honestly couldn't remember. With over 60 students in class and so much homework daily, without some distinguishing feature, I found it hard to remember everyone. As I was thinking, I accidentally made eye contact with someone. The comments started frantically scrolling. Didn't you promise us you wouldn't sabotage the lead's relationship? Supporting character? Why are you making eye contact with the male lead supporting character? Give us back our cake. Seeing them demand the cake back, I quickly lowered my head. I explained in my mind over and over. Trust me, I really didn't know he was the male lead. I genuinely had no idea. The class president was their so-called male lead. I called him class president every day. I'd completely forgotten his real name. The eye contact was purely accidental. The class president and I weren't that close. I was a boarding student. He was a day student. As everyone knows, cool cafeteria food is basically pig slop. So outside food became almost a luxury. When I was really craving something, I'd ask him to buy me breakfast a few times, but many people asked him to bring breakfast. I wasn't special. Other than that, he barely interacted. I wasn't very clear on his relationship with Lisa Thompson either. I had no idea why. The comments said I was sabotaging their relationship. With less than 100 days until college entrance exams, I had no time to understand their love drama. But the viewers' rewards were too good to pass up. Having figured out who the male and female leads were, I was determined to stay away from both. If you want me to stop sabotaging their relationship, that's fine. Tomorrow at lunch, I want sweet and sour pork. The comments were generous. As long as you don't sabotage the lead's relationship, no problem. School was basically like prison. Could sleep well, couldn't eat enough. The comments' existence let me get extra meals. My most anticipated daily activity became the next day's food ordering session. While I was still thinking about what to eat for lunch, a box of cookies suddenly appeared in front of me. I instinctively reached for it, but pulled back because of the frantically flashing comments. We had an agreement. Supporting character Emma Wilson. Don't forget our deal. Steven's voice came from above. Not good enough for you. My attention was all on the cookies. I didn't hear what he was saying. Clearly, my mind was at war with itself. Just a box of cookies. The lead's relationship couldn't be that fragile. Right. But I'd already promised the comments. I'd completely avoid the male and female leads. The comments saw my wavering and started listing food like a menu. Supporting character. It's just cookies. We still have grilled noodles, fried chicken strips, meatballs, flatbread with pork. I wiped away my shameful tears. Don't underestimate the bond between us. I turned and walked away without hesitation. At lunchtime, I got my promised reward of deluxe flatbread with pork. From the comments, this also made Steven resent me. Senior year was busy, endless worksheets, endless problems. His frequent appearances made him hard to ignore, but I really had no time to pay attention to him. I could only turn and walk away whenever he appeared. From the comments, I learned that without my interference, the lead's relationship had progressed significantly. In the novel setting, Steven was the golden boy. Good grades, good looks, good personality. The female lead, Lisa, was ordinary in every way. Average grades, average looks, average personality. Her ordinariness made her feel inferior around Steven. She didn't dare confess her feelings. She quietly stayed by Steven's side. In his youthful ignorance, Steven never saw her. Only years later did he realize she'd already taken root in his heart. I was the biggest obstacle between the leads during their teenage years. The comments said Steven liked me. Even the snacks Lisa shared with me were sent through her by him. Many times. When the female lead gathered courage to confess, my presence made her back down. Now, because of my deliberate avoidance, Lisa and Steven's relationship was gradually heating up. To keep me stable, the comments fed me regularly. They got sweet love, got delicious extra meals. Everyone had a beautiful future. This was a happy ending for all. But even though I kept my promise to avoid the leads, they didn't want to let me go at all. School gave us 2 days off every half-month to go home. This was always my most anticipated time. As I excitedly packed my bag to leave school, someone blocked my way. It was Steven. I stepped back, ready to take another route. But he grabbed my wrist. Blocking my way home made me impatient. What do you want? Steven took a deep breath. Why are you deliberately avoiding me? I was avoiding him, but I couldn't tell the truth. That I was avoiding him and the female lead. Favou what's heaps. I pulled away from his grip and said dismissively, I'm not. You're mistaken. Steven pressed his lips together. Is it because Lisa and I are getting too close? I couldn't understand his logic. That's great. I genuinely thought it was great. The better the lead's relationship, the better rewards the comments gave. His gaze was intense. You're lying to me. I really didn't want to waste time with him. Fine, I am avoiding you. College entrance exams are coming up. Please don't waste my time. I really didn't understand them. With college entrance exams approaching, I was severely sleep-deprived. Due and practice problems even in my dreams. Except for the extra meals from viewer tips, I had no time to think about anything else. I had no idea where they got the energy to worry about these things. On the day of the third mock exam, I had a cold and felt dizzy all over. The comments kindly tipped me hot soup, which warmed my heart and made me more determined to keep our agreement. But things went against my wishes. The more I tried to ignore them, the more the leads liked to show off in front of me. The third mock exam was notorious for being the most grueling hurdle before the actual college entrance exams. To make matters worse, a sudden cold front had swept through the city, and the school's aging heating system chose that exact week to break down. Emma sat at her desk, her head throbbing like a muffled drum. Her nose was red. Her throat felt like sandpaper, and every breath she took felt ice cold. She clutched a ball of crumpled tissues in one hand while trying to keep her eyes focused on a complex solid geometry problem. Look at our little villain. A pale blue comment floated across her field of vision. She's practically vibrating from the cold. This is heartbreaking. Let's tip her something warm. Agreed. She's been so good, keeping her distance from the leads. Here's some. Eat. A golden flash blinked inside her dark desk drawer. Emma practiced in the art of stealth, slid her hand into the cubbyhole. Her fingers closed around the smooth, warm stainless steel of a thermos. She pulled her hand back, keeping her head low, pretending to rummage for a draft sheet. She unscrewed the lid under the cover of her stacked textbooks. A rich, heavenly aroma of chicken ginseng soup drifted upward. It was hot, savory, and thick with the scent of slow-simmered herbs. While the teacher's back was turned to write a chemical equation on the blackboard, Emma took a quick, deep sip. The hot liquid slid down her raw throat, spreading a wave of comforting warmth all the way to her stomach. Let out a silent, blissful sigh. Ah, she looks like a satisfied little hamster, a comment cooed. Eat up, Emma. Don't let the cold ruin your study streak. Suddenly, a shadow fell over her desk. Emma quickly screwed the cap back on the thermos and shoved it deep into her desk drawer, her heart hammering. She looked up, expecting the sharp glare of the chemistry teacher, but instead, she met the intense, dark eyes of Stephen Shaw. As the class president, Stephen was currently distributing the corrected mock exam answer sheets. He paused at her desk, his gaze lingering on her pale face and the slight tremble in her hands. Without a word, he reached into his pocket and placed a small green box of premium cold medicine on her desk. Take it, he said, his voice low and raspy, carrying a strange forced coldness. You're dragging down the average of our row with all that sniffing. Emma's hand froze on her pencil. Instantly, her vision was flooded with bright red, flashing comments. Warning! Warning! The male lead is initiating contact. Why is he giving her medicine? This is a classic subplot flag. Emma, do not accept it. Remember the matcha cake. Remember the pork flatbread. If you take that medicine, we're cutting off the dinner tips. Emma's survival instincts flared. A box of cold medicine was worth maybe 5 yuan. The tips she received from the comments were priceless. She couldn't let a cheap box of pills ruin her food supply. She picked up the box and pushed it firmly back across the desk toward Stephen. Thank you, class president, but there's no need, she said, her voice nasal but resolute. I already took some medicine before class. I don't like mixing brands. Stephen's brow furrowed, a flicker of irritation crossing his handsome face. It's just medicine, Emma. Don't be stubborn. Your fever is obvious. I'm fine, she insisted, tapping the thermos in her desk. I'm drinking plenty of hot water. Please give the medicine to someone who actually needs it. Behind Stephen, Lisa Thompson was watching. She was holding a stack of reference books, her fingers tightening around the cardboard covers. Her eyes darted between Stephen and Emma, filled with a fragile, uneasy insecurity. Stephen. Lisa called out softly, her voice barely a whisper. The teacher is looking this way. We should finish passing out the papers. Stephen stiffened. He glanced back at Lisa, then turned his gaze back to Emma, his eyes dark with an unreadable emotion. Finally, he snatched the medicine box off her desk, shoved it back into his pocket, and walked away without another word. Emma let out a quiet breath of relief, leaning back in her chair. Phew. Safe. The comments breathed collectively. Good job, Emma. You avoided the flag beautifully. Here's a small plate of sliced fresh pears to soothe your throat for your obedience. A small, chilled plastic container appeared in her desk drawer. Emma smiled, her eyes crinkling. High school was hard, but with her mysterious patrons she was at least the best-fed student in the senior grade. When the final results of the third mock exam were posted on the bulletin board the following Monday, the hallway was packed with students. Emma didn't bother squeezing through the crowd. She already knew her score. Because of her fever during the mathematics and physics sections, her brain had felt like wet cement. She had made several careless calculation errors, dropping her total score to 645. She was now ranked 5th in the class. Lisa Thompson, however, had performed exceptionally well. She had scored 652, securing the 4th spot, exactly 1 place ahead of Emma. Stephen Shaw, as always, sat comfortably at the top of the chart with an intimidating 690. During the afternoon break, the classroom was filled with the hum of gossip and the rustling of test papers. Emma was hunched over her desk, diligently correcting her math errors, determined to understand every single mistake she had made. Suddenly, a heavy plastic cup was placed directly onto her physics worksheet. Emma blinked, looking at the cup. It was a premium brown sugar boba milk tea from the trendiest shop downtown, complete with a thick layer of salted cheese foam on top. The cup was sweating cold condensation, leaving a wet ring on her paper. This is to celebrate my baby's test score beating yours, Stephen's voice rang out loud and clear. The surrounding classmates fell silent. Several heads turned toward them, their eyes wide with curiosity. Stephen stood beside Emma's desk, one hand casually shoved in his pocket. He was looking down at her, his expression a mixture of arrogance and provocative challenge. He seemed to be waiting, hoping, for her to burst into tears, to scream at him, or to show even a flicker of the jealousy she used to harbor. Lisa Thompson stood a few paces behind him, her face flushed a deep crimson. She looked incredibly embarrassed but also carried a shy, triumphant smile. Stephen, don't say it like that. Emma was sick during the exam. It wasn't a fair fight. A loss is a loss, Stephen said coldly, his eyes never leaving Emma's face. There are no excuses on the real battlefield. Emma stared at the bubble tea. Then she looked at Stephen's smug face. My baby. She felt a physical wave of cringe wash over her. They were 17. They were in the middle of the most stressful academic year of their lives, and this guy was standing in a classroom full of sweaty, sleep-deprived teenagers calling a girl my baby to provoke an academic rival. It felt like watching a poorly written teen drama in real time. But while Emma was merely cringed, the comments section was absolutely livid. The scrolling text turned a fiery, aggressive red. Oh my god, the audacity of this male lead. Who does he think he is? My baby? I'm going to throw up my breakfast. He's doing this on purpose to humiliate Emma. Look at Lisa's smug face. Emma, do not take this sitting down. I cannot tolerate this level of disrespect. Supporting character. Get first place next time. Crush them. Humiliate them. If you get first place on the next mock exam, we will tip you a literal luxury feast. A full course roasted duck, a seafood spread, whatever you want. Yes, a feast. Get first place and the feast is yours. Emma's eyes locked onto the words luxury feast and roasted duck. Her stomach let out a timely, rumbling growl. The school cafeteria's Wednesday special was stir-fried cabbage that tasted like dishwater and pork strips that were mostly fat. The thought of crispy, golden brown roasted duck with sweet bean sauce and delicate pancakes made her mouth water. She calmly picked up the cup of bubble tea by the rim, ensuring she didn't get any condensation on her notes, and held it out to Stephen. Congratulations to Lisa, Emma said, her voice entirely flat and devoid of emotion. But please take your drink back. It's dripping on my worksheet, and I need to finish correcting my mistakes. Some of us actually have to study to maintain our grades. Stephen's smug expression instantly shattered. His jaw tightened and his hand twitched as he took the cup back. He had expected her to storm out, to glare at Lisa, or to throw the tea in his face. Instead, she had treated him like an annoying solicitor blocking her path. Emma Wilson, Stephen muttered, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Do you really think you can just ignore me? Class president, the teacher is coming, Emma replied, pointing toward the classroom door. Stephen spun around, saw the homeroom teacher walking down the hallway, and was forced to retreat to his seat, dragging a confused and slightly disappointed Lisa with him. Emma picked up her eraser, rubbed out a wrong calculation, and whispered in her mind, deal. Next mock exam, I'm taking first place. Prep the roasted duck. That's my girl. Study hard, Emma. We believe in you. Show these main leads what a real academic beast looks like. For the next 3 weeks, Emma transformed into a machine. She woke up at 5:30 a.m., 20 minutes before the dormitory wake-up bell to memorize English vocabulary under the dim corridor lights. During class, her eyes were glued to the blackboard. During breaks, while other students chatted or slept, she did extra chemistry and physics problems. She stopped looking at Stephen entirely. She stopped replying to Lisa when Lisa offered her snacks. The comments section became her ultimate support system. They kept their promise, fueling her grueling study sessions with premium, stealthy deliveries. Our little villain has been studying for 4 hours straight. Here's a hot, crispy egg pancake with extra sausage and bacon. Keep your energy up, Emma. Here's a cup of fresh, warm soy milk. You're doing great. Here's a small bowl of spicy takoyaki to keep you awake during evening self-study. Every time she reached into her desk, there was a new treat waiting for her. She became highly skilled at sneaking food. A quick tilt of her head, a screen of high textbooks, a silent chew, and the food was gone, leaving nothing but a lingering aroma that drove her classmates crazy. Do you guys smell fried chicken? A boy sitting next to Emma muttered one afternoon, sniffing the air like a hound. Or am I hallucinating from hunger? Emma sat perfectly still, her mouth slightly full, slowly chewing a crispy chicken tender. She didn't blink. Meanwhile, the main couple's relationship was progressing, but not in the way the original novel had intended. Because Emma had completely withdrawn from their lives, Stephen had no evil supporting character to use as a catalyst to make Lisa jealous or to prove his own loyalty. Without Emma's constant, annoying presence pushing them together, the inherent cracks in their relationship began to show. Stephen was arrogant and accustomed to being the center of attention. Lisa was deeply insecure and constantly sought reassurance. One afternoon, during a self-study session, Stephen tried to tutor Lisa on a physics problem. He explained it once, but Lisa, struggling with the concept, looked confused. It's just a basic application of the kinetic energy theorem, Lisa, Stephen said, his tone carrying a hint of impatience. I already explained it. Why aren't you getting it? Lisa's eyes welled with tears. I'm sorry, I'm not as smart as you, Stephen. Maybe You should tutor someone else. She glanced toward Emma, but Emma was wearing earplugs, completely immersed in a mock math paper, her pencil flying across the page. I didn't mean it like that, Stephen sighed, rubbing his temples. He looked at Emma's back. She looked so quiet, so focused, and entirely indifferent to his existence. It irritated him to no end. He had always been the one she looked at. Now he felt like a ghost in her world. He stood up, walked over to Emma's desk, and tapped his knuckles on her wood. Emma didn't move. He tapped harder. Emma sighed, pulled out one of her earplugs, and looked up. Yes, class. President. Lisa doesn't understand this physics problem, Stephen said, his voice carrying a strange edge. Since you're so busy studying, why don't you explain it to her? You used to be good at this section. Emma looked at the problem on his paper. It was a standard, slightly tricky mechanics question. She could solve it in 2 minutes, but explaining it would take 10. 10 minutes of her time was worth at least 3 mock exam points. I'm sorry, class president, Emma said politely, putting her earplug back in. I'm currently time practicing a math section. I can't stop. You should ask the physics representative. She immediately went back to her paper. Stephen's face turned red. He stood there for a long moment, feeling the stares of the surrounding classmates, before walking back to his seat in a silent rage. Look at his face. He thought he could use his male lead charm to distract our Emma. Our Emma only has eyes for first place in food. Keep grinding, Emma. The 4th mock exam is in 3 days. The 4th mock exam arrived on a rainy Thursday. The papers, designed by a joint committee of elite schools, were notoriously brutal. They were intended to smash the students' confidence, forcing them to stay humble and focused in the final stretch before the real Gaokao. When Emma received the math paper, she felt a surge of adrenaline. The questions were difficult, requiring complex, multi-step logic. But because she had practiced similar difficult problems under the guidance of her patron's tips, her mind was incredibly sharp. She wrote continuously, her pen moving with absolute confidence. By the time the final bell rang on Friday afternoon, ending the 2-day ordeal, the entire senior grade was in a state of mourning. Students walked out of the exam rooms with blank, traumatized expressions. That math paper was a massacre, a student cried in the hallway. I didn't even finish the last 2 questions. The physics paper was worse, another groaned. I want to go home. Emma said her disk, pecking her pensionil. She felt tired, but her heart was light. She had answered every question. On Monday morning, the grades were posted. The hallway was quiet as students gathered around the bulletin board. Then, collective gasp rippled through the crowd. No way, who is at the top? Emma Wilson. She got 698. Emma walked over and looked at the sheet. Rank 1, Emma Wilson, 698 points. Rank 2, Stephen Shaw, 682 points. Rank 3. Rank 12, Lisa Thompson, 595 points. Emma had not only taken first place, but she had also beaten Stephen by a staggering 16 points. Lisa, overwhelmed by the difficulty of the papers and her recent emotional distractions, had tumbled out of the top 10 entirely. The comments section exploded into a dazzling display of golden fireworks. Yes, she did it. Our villain is the queen of the grade. Look at Stephen's score. He got destroyed. This is the most satisfying comeback ever. Feast time. Feast time. Emma, go to the old science lab on the top floor during the dinner break. We have prepared your imperial feast. Emma's heart leaped. She kept her composure, walking back to her classroom with a calm, indifferent expression, but inside, she was screaming with joy. During the dinner break, while the other students headed toward the crowded, noisy cafeteria, Emma slipped away. She climbed the dusty stairs to the 5th floor of the old building, entering the abandoned chemistry lab. It was quiet, smelling of old wood and chalk dust. She sat down at a clean concrete lab bench and reached into her large backpack. Her hands touched a massive, heavy, insulated container. She pulled it out. It was a beautiful multi-tiered black lacquer box. When she opened the lid, the aroma that emerged was so intense she almost cried. The top tier contained half a crispy, perfectly roasted Peking duck, sliced into delicate pieces, complete with a stack of warm, paper-thin steamed pancakes, sliced cucumbers, scallions, and a rich, sweet hoisin sauce. The second tier held a small, bubbling personal clay pot of spicy Sichuan mapo, tofu with minced beef, still piping hot. The third tier contained a portion of stir-fried green beans with minced pork and garlic and a bowl of fragrant, pearl-like white rice. To top it all off, there was a chilled mango pomelo sago dessert in a separate, insulated cup. Do you like it, Emma? The comments asked anxiously. We chose the best restaurant in the city. Eat slowly, you worked so hard. Thank you, Emma whispered sincerely. This is the best day of my life. She took a thin pancake, smeared it with hoisin sauce, added a slice of crispy duck skin, a piece of meat, some cucumber, and rolled it up. She stuffed the whole thing into her mouth. The crunch of the skin, the richness of the fat, and the fresh crunch of the cucumber combined into a flavor explosion. She was so focused on her food that she didn't hear the creak of the old wooden door. Emma froze, a piece of spicy mapo tofu halfway to her mouth. She turned slowly, her heart dropping. Standing in the doorway of the abandoned lab was Stephen Shaw. He looked terrible. His hair was messy, his uniform was wrinkled, and his eyes were bloodshot. The proud, arrogant class president looked entirely defeated. Emma's first instinct was terror. Is he going to report me to the dean for eating in the lab? Cooking/eating in unauthorized areas is a serious disciplinary infraction. Class president, Emma said quickly, swallowing her food and dropping her chopsticks. I'm just eating my dinner. Please don't tell the teacher. I'll clean up everything, I swear. Stephen didn't look at the food. He walked into the room, his eyes fixed on her face, filled with a mixture of anger, confusion, and deep hurt. Is this what you've been doing? He asked, his voice shaking slightly. Hiding? Up here? Avoiding me like I'm a disease? Emma blinked. I'm not hiding. The cafeteria is too loud. Stop lying. Stephen shouted, stepping closer. He gripped the edge of the lab bench, his knuckles turning white. Why are you doing this to me, Emma? Why have you been treating me like a stranger for the past month? Emma stepped back, keeping the lacquer box between them. We are classmates. Stephen. We were never close. That's a lie. Stephen's voice cracked. You used to ask me to buy you breakfast every week. You used to look at me during class. But now, you won't even look at me. You look right through me. Is it because of Lisa? He took a deep breath, his eyes staring into hers. I only spent time with Lisa because I wanted to see if you would care. I wanted to see you get jealous too. See you react. But you didn't. You just ignored me. You even got first place. Just to prove you don't need me. Emma stared at him, her mouth slightly open. The comments section went absolutely wild, the text scrolling so fast it was almost illegible. What the hell? He used the female lead as a tool to make the supporting character jealous. This guy is toxic. He's a psychopath. Oh my god, Lisa is so pitiful. She actually thought he liked her. Emma, tell him off. Protect your roasted duck. Don't let him ruin your dinner. Emma looked at Stephen. For the first time, she felt a profound sense of clarity. This was the male lead of the novel. A boy who was so consumed by his own ego that he was willing to play with a girl's feelings just to get the attention of another. Stephen, Emma said, her voice calm, cold, and steady. Let me make some things incredibly clear to you. First, I asked you to buy me breakfast because the dormitory breakfast is cold. And you were a day student who went to the bakery anyway. I paid you back every single time, plus a 50-cent tip for your trouble. It was a business transaction, not a romantic overture. Stephen's face went pale. Second, I got first place because I studied my ass off for 18 hours a day. I want to go to a good university. I want a future. My world does not revolve around your petty ego. Third, Emma pointed toward the door. Your baby is standing right behind you. Stephen froze. He slowly turned around. Lisa Thompson was standing in the doorway. She had followed Stephen up the stairs. Her face was completely white, tears streaming down her cheeks. She had heard everything. Stephen. Lisa whispered, her voice trembling. You used me? Everything. You did. It was just to make Emma jealous? Lisa, wait, it's not like that. Stephen stammered, stepping away from Emma, his hands raised in panic. I hate you, Lisa screamed, turning around and running down the corridor, her crying echoing through the empty building. Stephen looked back at Emma, his face a mask of desperation. But Emma had already picked up her chopsticks, calmly dipping another piece of duck into the hoisin sauce. You should probably go after her, Emma suggested, taking a bite. And please, close the door on your way out. It's getting cold. Stephen stared at her, realizing with absolute certainty that she truly, genuinely did not care about him. He turned and chased after Lisa. Emma let out a long sigh, sitting down on the stool. That was amazing. The trash male lead got trash talked. Lisa finally knows the truth. She's free. Emma, you are a hero. Eat your duck, you deserve it. Emma smiled, chewing her food. The roasted duck was indeed delicious. Without Emma's evil intervention, the melodramatic plot of the novel completely fell apart. And yet, reality turned out much better. Lisa Thompson, after a week of crying, finally found her spine. She cut ties with Stephen Shaw completely. She stopped trying to please him, stopped feeling inferior, and began focusing entirely on her own studies. Without the distraction of a toxic relationship, her grades began to recover. Stephen Shaw, distracted by his bruised ego and his sudden drop from the academic throne, lost his focus. His grades slipped further, and he spent the remaining months before the Gaokao in a state of quiet, brooding isolation. He was no longer the untouchable golden boy. Emma, powered by the continuous, loving support of her comment section, remained firmly at the top of the grade. On the day of the actual college entrance exam, the comment section gave her a massive, glowing send-off. "This is it, Emma. Do your best. We've got your back. We will always love our favorite evil supporting character." Emma walked into the exam hall with a clear mind and a full stomach, courtesy of a tipped premium breakfast of fresh egg tarts and warm milk. 2 months later, the university admission letters arrived. Emma Wilson was accepted into the country's top university, majoring in astrophysics. On her last day in the city before leaving for college, she sat in the downtown cake shop, the very one she had requested the matcha layer cake from on that hungry night in the study hall. She ordered a slice of matcha layer cake and a cup of warm tea. As she took a bite of the rich, creamy green cake, a single golden comment floated across her vision. "Congratulations on your graduation, Emma. Live a beautiful, happy life. You are the main character of your own story now." Emma smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. She looked up at the blue sky outside the window, feeling the warm summer breeze. "Thank you," she whispered to the empty air. "I will